The U.S. and Israel, they are waiting for Hamas to respond to a temporary ceasefire proposal put forth by the U.S. The terms of the agreement include a release of hostages held by Hamas in exchange for a 60-day pause in the conflict. Now, this comes as aid distribution centers in Gaza have been overwhelmed by Palestinians. You can see in this video here, people desperate for food. Local officials say dozens of people have been hurt during the chaotic rush for aid. Let's turn now to CBS News contributor Robert Berger in Jerusalem. Robert, what more do we know about this agreement, and what's the likelihood that Hamas will actually agree to it?
Well, it's a 60-day ceasefire in which we're going to see if it's agreed to by Hamas, and that remains to be seen. The release of 10 living Israeli hostages, 5 on day 1 of the ceasefire and 5 about a week later. And there would also be the release of 18 bodies in the first couple of weeks of dead Israeli hostages, which is about half of the deceased hostages in Gaza. And in return, Israel would release more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 125 serving life sentences for acts of terrorism against Israelis. As far as whether Hamas is going to accept it or not, everybody's waiting to see. They don't really like it because it's a 60-day ceasefire and they want a complete end to the war, and that's something Israel has not agreed to.
Right. And what about the aid situation? We saw some of that video. There are people rushing to get food. Is that going to improve by any chance?
Well, that would improve if there's a ceasefire. That would be part of the deal to get the UN and other traditional aid organizations involved again. Right now, they're out of the picture because an Israeli and US-backed NGO called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is running things and is not going very well. They had 3 distribution centers open this week. Today, only 1 was open after the other 2 were overrun by hungry Palestinians, crowds rushing in and just seizing the food. And the aim is to prevent Hamas from getting hold of this aid, but that doesn't seem to be going so well either, because from what we're hearing from eyewitnesses at these distribution centers, nobody's being checked. So it could be Palestinian civilians and it could be Hamas members getting their hands on that food.
That's interesting there. So we know Israel has accepted this proposal, but what are we hearing and what are we seeing from Israelis? What are their thoughts about the proposal?
Well, everyone is on edge to see what's going to happen. I think, according to polls anyway, a large majority of Israelis want a ceasefire. This has been going on now for more than 600 days, this war. But the question is, what kind of ceasefire are we going to get? And that's where I would say the Israeli public is divided, and a lot of people are concerned because, as I mentioned, it's only 10 living hostages that would be released in these 60 days, and you have at least 20, maybe 23 living Israelis left in Gaza. So what about them? And that's the big concern, that this is just a partial deal. Also, it's a 60-day ceasefire, no complete end to the war. So a lot of uncertainty, in addition to, obviously, of course, anyone who's getting living hostages home, everyone's going to be happy about that. But still, a lot of uncertainty about the other hostages who would be left behind.
Yeah, still some questions remain. Robert Berger, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.